About 6 seconds. Okay, yeah, we're definitely going live now. As I was saying, the problem with music nowadays is that it's not that it's not really good. It's the problem is that the people that we really think of as great weren't that really good. Seriously, they weren't. They became that good because someone took time and worked with them. A young Chris Cornell, I mean, he's a powerhouse, but he needs to be taken under the wings of someone who's, in a studio environment because he started out as a drummer and he became a guitarist singer and rather amazing at the latter. But still, because mainly he had a primary root in drums. You know what I mean? That's what he wanted to be. He wanted to be in the back. He wanted to be behind. But he had a look, he had a sound, and he had, I mean, it just worked out for him very well to move to the front. He had, like, I mean, by the time he passed, he was considered, one, I consider probably the best voice to have walked this earth that's been recorded. I don't know anybody before recording, but since recording, he probably has the best voice. Um, but I could put a monkey going up to you. We're going live. So, do I look pretty mild? So the problem is that not that the bands aren't currently good, the people aren't talented, but the greed has consumed the system. It's always been greedy. It always has been. But it reached a new level of just greed and to the point of almost hatred. Spiteful. She's 14, wasn't she, when she started? Before there, Miley Cyrus is another one. I mean, there's a lot. These are children. Children. And you're giving them enough money that even to their famous parents, in Miley Cyrus's case, she could go, "Fuck you! I make more money than you, Dad." You know what I mean? Can you imagine? I mean, you got a famous dad or a mom, and you make more money than them at a young age, and who could tell you shit? Who could tell you anything? But there's no like minder. There's no watcher. Like they know that Jimi Hendrix was a fucking druggie. Why didn't they have a minder? If nothing else, by the time Kurt Cobain came along, they know the fucking deal. When they have someone to watch him to make sure he didn't overdose, keep a track on him. The smart thing to do would have been to find him a up and coming author that he liked and agreed with, and have them follow Kurt around. You know what I mean? So it's like, look, I'm just gonna be in the background. I don't do anything but like, I mean, if you do shit overdose, and then when he goes right, like, you understand when you die. I mean, well, before I die, I'm gonna be writing your biography. And like, yeah, I get it. And so like, so I'm just gonna be like a fly on the wall. I'll be at all the parties and shit, but just don't just like that way. There's no camera there. You know what I mean? For like but to understand it in my book, there may be the time I saved Kurt Cobain by giving him fucking Narcan or whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever. That might be a chapter in my book that I read about you. Yeah, because that might have actually been what happened. Like Lanigan, heroin addict, crack addict. Why didn't they have someone with him? Because we like a good train wreck. It seemed like the 90s especially was about, like with Real World, it was keep the camera rolling and don't look away. Don't turn the camera away. That's what we're here for. Look at Kurt. Look at all the fucking people. I mean, the people in the wake of the music industry. But after that, after the greed that they had there, because let's face it, an artist like Tupac is worth more money dead to the company than alive, and their greed consumed them to the point that that really wasn't. I mean, I'm sure it's never been a problem before, but they still wanted more. They still wanted more money. So We helped them out one more time, didn't we? By making all of our entertainment. We're starving for the American Idol. We're starving to be the fucking person on the stage. To step out of our fucking shitty lives of whatever, and we think that that's going to fix it all. Because we only see the glimmers of those people's lives when they're having a great fucking time, when everybody's loving them. You don't see them when they're tearing down their equipment, packing up and moving on to the next place, trying to find out, especially like if it's a starting band. It looks great, doesn't it? These people are young and thin and fit. You want to know why? Because they're barely fucking eating. When I was younger, there was a band that went on tour. Their drummer was a bigger guy. When they got back, he was skinnier than I am now. You know what I mean? I'm like 179. He was just small. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. You've just been banging the drums? He's like, no, not eating. I'm like, that would do it to you also. That will do it. You know? I never had to go on tour, so I don't know anything about that myself personally. I've been on road trips and stuff, and we played out of town, but never like on tour. You know what I mean? But when you're tearing down, this is a very like lonely time because like the bar's all shutting down. It's like you get to see the skeleton of the party. Do you understand? It's fucked up. You get to watch the people walking around with brooms cleaning up their fucking sad ass lives that they've got to fucking pick up after people that they're done with them. Their party is like they've like moved on to another place where they're raising hell. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you're trying to live like the movies, like the fucking you see, like you see Kurt there going crazy and doing shit and fucking and Chris throwing his bass up in the air and Dave doing his crazy shit. Hi Axel, you know what I mean? And then we're like, oh, this is fucking that must be crazy to fucking live that life, and then we think they leave from there, and that just the rest of their life is exactly like that. Just fun, party, party, party. There's no arguments with the wife, the missus. There's no fucking never. You know what I mean? They're not even really human, really. To be honest, they're like above human. That's why every time you see Kurt now, they've got like a halo over him, or they've got like wings on him, or something like that. I don't know. There's a lot of people that are making money off of the fact of what we all need Kurt to be. Because there's like a chapter in Mark Lanigan's book, Sing Backwards and Weep, and he's talking about, early on the first album he cut with Sub Pop, The Winding Sheet, which I love that album. But it has at least like 2 songs on there that Kurt and Lanigan wrote together, at least 2. And then there's one that had the first time Kurt was recorded doing Where Did You Sleep Last Night? And from what the book said, Lanigan was supposed to go on stage with them. I think Kurt was murdered. I think because he said that Unplugged gave him hope that there was something to do when his rocking days were over. When then maybe they'll sit and listen to him play an acoustic. That's like something somebody wants to check out. No, but then on the that album, they did mention how in the book, Mark mentioned how Chris Novoselic, Nirvana was trying to get signed on with Sub Pop, and he called Lanigan up and said, "Hey man," because Lanigan was signed, "do you need a bass player? Because I'm tired of Kurt's shit." That book's been out for a while. I have not yet heard Chris Novoselic refute that. I think that song by Dave Grohl for Foo Fighters, Big Me. Well, I talked about it, carries on, reasons old and new. I think he was talking about how in the band he only got 1 compliment from Kurt for anything, and when they got done playing gigs, that they just didn't mention to each other like how good they did. They just kind of went backstage and did whatever. And it's probably fine for Kurt because when they go do interviews, who do they always want to talk to? They ever want to talk to Dave? No. So good, like, hey man, that was a great show. Would do him very good. Would do him. You know what I mean? Listen to the lyrics. More than likely, and Pat Smear kind of can vouch for this. that he and Kurt were walking by, and they heard Dave Grohl playing guitar, and they both just kind of stopped and listened. And they're like, "Holy fuck, he's better than both of us." Now, was he singing or not? I don't know. Um, but I could see how if someone was in that room with him when he was playing, and those two were outside. Someone's like, "So you play drums, and if you play guitar, that means you play bass because guitar and bass are very related." I'm like, yeah, yeah. So you're a three-piece band. You mean you could tell me that you could have recorded all of Nevermind by yourself? And you're like, I mean, yeah, I could have recorded, but yeah, I mean, it's like, and if you just hear that, you go like, oh shit, what you could have recorded Nirvana, yeah, yeah, and you're like, but I mean, the whole reason you listen to the lyrics of the thing, but it's you. I fell into. I talked about it. Reasons old and new, but it's you. I fell into. If we could talk about it, I could stand the proof. Didn't mean to talk about it. He just keeps repeating that over and over and over. Um, and just to me, like I said, the only thing I can picture is like like as a writer, like why would I get to that point where I wrote a song like that? Big me, big me to talk about it. You know what I mean? He could have, and he did. He recorded Foo Fighters, that whole fucking album, the first fucking album he recorded by himself, without anybody else. He played all the instruments. So it's true. He could have recorded Nevermind by himself. And especially if he would have gone like dun 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 dun, and then dun 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 dun, and both Chris and Kurt and whatever know that they never showed him that how to play that. They thought he was just a drummer. Maybe they didn't even ask him if he could play because he never really cared. You know, he's a badass drummer, so who gives a fuck if he can whatever. And so after that point in time, they're like, I know Kurt was talking about Round 4 in Utero. So about modern music. Anyways, what's wrong with modern music? No one's doing that. No one's sitting down and developing the albums anymore. Like Nevermind was developed. It wasn't just recorded. They went into a studio and now did they hit record and whatever, but they'd already recorded, they already written several of the songs. Then there's a lot of stuff in the production side of it that Butch Vig did at Sound City. And that's the whole point of all of that. To try and wrap it up a bit faster. But all the bands that were before that also had producers that would come in. A lot of music that's being produced now, people are like, can you believe it's being recorded in someone's bedroom? And like, yes, I can, because one, AI is working on getting the proper EQ for everything. And AI is getting the proper mastering levels. And you can generate beats and stuff like that with AI. So it's not really all that hard to believe. On top of that, there's YouTube and there's mixing and mastering techniques on there about how to mix and master. I learned a lot, but I took all those things and I applied those and used them. I learned the principles and the concepts, and so that way I can adjust all the shit for my needs. Once I actually grasped the concept, compression was the hardest one to get. Once I got that, that's made a huge difference in dynamics. And music's all about dynamics. The music has to ride and flow. Otherwise, even the most exciting song, if it was just all, again, I hate to keep going back to it, but I mean, why not? Because it's one of the last times the music really had a big explosion. It Smells Like Teen Spirit. And it goes real loud. It's the same four chords, the whole fucking song. But people went insane, acting stupid and contagious, because they've started spreading fucking everywhere. All the fucking, even the fucking Poison and Warrant guys started dressing like in flannel and shit. But the reason guys in the in the Pacific Northwest were fucking wearing flannel was because it's fucking cold certain times of the year. And so, like, you know, it's kind of like they had a communal look, just like everywhere. There's a kind of a Jersey look, there's kind of a fucking New York look, there's kind of whatever, and that was like the Pacific Northwest look to fit in, you know what I mean? Like, someone had a good idea for beating the cold with the flannel because they were cheap. And then other people started doing it. And it's like a lot of lumberjacking. And so in that area, there's a lot of logging. So of course they were flannel. Might even get your dad's, you know what I mean? So it's all worn in and shit. Plus, is it your dad's army boots? Fuck yeah, dude. You know what I mean? Or even if you just go to the thrift store. More than likely, someone did get it from their dad. Probably as a hand-me-down because in the area there's a lot of poorness. Next thing you know, some guy sees it like that's a dope ass look. I'm gonna go fucking. I don't. My dad can't give me, so I'll go to the army surplus store. There's all these cheap ways of getting around, like the thrift stores and stuff, to get around having clothing, having the things you need at a price you can actually fucking afford in this world. Because this thing will take, it'll beat you until you stop coughing up fucking pennies. Look at Kurt. Every year, they do an anniversary of both his death and his birth. Then they do one of all the fucking albums he's done. Then there's a reissue remaster. Then the previously unreleased songs, which are usually like just like scratches of songs that Kurt didn't like enough to fucking put to album. So why the fuck would you want those released? I know I get the morbid curiosity of us. What could have been? We got the songs we got. The jukebox stopped playing. Jimi Hendrix stopped playing. Led Zeppelin. They stopped playing. That's to make room for the new. Okay, for example, one of the best songs I've heard recently was Cut Me Some Slack, which was done by Dave Grohl, the Nirvana, Foo Fighter, and basically Paul McCartney sitting in for Kurt. And it was great. I mean, you could easily see the connection between, you know what I mean? It's like the old guard handing off to the new guard, but the new guard, I mean, it was way past the new guard. You know, because Nirvana had come and gone. Because Kurt's dead. But it was like an acknowledgement, you know what I mean? It was really cool. And from what I understand, like, you know, he and Paul and, anyways, you know, so they don't do that anymore. They don't. They want the artist to be disposable because when you get to Prince's level, you can start saying, "I want more money," and they don't want to hear that shit. They don't want to hear, "I want more money." They want to hear more songs. And without more songs, again, if the jukebox stops playing, they'll find a way to squeeze more music out of the jukebox, one way or another. But back in the day, the way it worked would be that you'd have an A&R guy, and they would be sent out by the major labels. This was still a fucked up way to do it because, I mean, to deal with the devil. Because these guys have lots and lots of money, and they know that these new people coming up are poor and borderline desperate. Sometimes sleeping on the floor, sometimes going from town to town for just enough gas money to get to the next town. No shit. It's not glamorous. Not like a lot of people like to think. Not at the beginning. Later on, you can start commanding huge crowds. Then you can start getting the big luxury bus and the setting up. It has to be set up a certain way. But for right now, as long as you're pulling in asses into seats, then sure, we'll accommodate some of that stuff. Like, especially if that's part of your act, that would set you apart from other people. Like with Slipknot, with like explosions and masks and shit. Sure, we'll at the beginning. We kind of have to because this is kind of the whole package of the deal. And all bullshitting aside, nowadays music is a package. It's a whole thing. They have to like you. They have to like you as a person. They have to like you. They have to like what you do when you're off time. They want to be interested in what you do. You know what I mean? You just have to do all these things in order to be people to give a fuck. Because it went from before, like look back even as far as movies. You didn't even have like a list of all the people who were and where the movies. You know what I mean? Who was all in the movies and who was all in them. Now you can just go, what was that? If you have the name or the actor, you're halfway there. And the rest is looking, where's the streaming? It's ridiculous. And it's that easy to get everything pretty much nowadays. How can you appreciate anything when it's that easy to get? Everything you want is right at your finger. Every book, pretty much every book, pretty much every movie, pretty much every song, and um, even worse is the audience has a limited amount of time, so they have to spend that time wisely. That's why people are tuning in and leaving because this is not a good use of your time at all. It isn't. I know that. I'm not making these for to entertain anybody. I'm making these for myself. But um, they just don't put the actual production into albums that they used to. They'd have like a famous person, Joe Barresi, Andy Johns, a major producer that would actually sculpt the tone of it. The reason there is a John Bonham sound is Andy Johns. Andy Johns. I think it's Johns. I think it's the last name. Anyways, um, incredible guy. Incredible guy. I looked him up to see about it because I have one of his packs for my drum set. I have a BFD. I have an electronic drum kit, and they sampled a lot of packs and stuff. And so this one program I used, and Andy Johns is one of the, and it sounds really, really, really good. And he did like he made sure he did rock and stuff, and that's all that he did. Mostly he did all the Led Zeppelin albums, like all of them. Um, like Butch Vig should have done all of Nirvana's albums, but I mean I understand Kurt wanted to do something new and different. I get that, but I mean, anyways, Led Zeppelin sound, that whole I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about, the John Bonham drum sound that he's known for. Andy Johns came up with that. He even went through how he did it because he's like I said he's. I think he was closing in on dying because he's gone now. Um, but he's even coughing during the like he's like explaining stuff and whatever, but like he's having to cough and they having like cut in and out, crossfade a bit, and he's just going through like all the stuff like how to mix this, how to mix that, and it's just like an open fountain of just knowledge and just like yeah, record it, you know what I mean, for posterity, I guess, you know what I mean, to like so that that information can go on forever, and I really thought that was cool because he explained like how he did it, that they were recording in a mansion. And you have mansions have that some of them have that the step goes up and there's like a landing and then it arches two ways up around there. Well, he put the drum set on that first landing, and then he put the overhead mics instead of putting them directly over the drum set like he would normally. He moved them to the top of the fucking stairs, so the drums are echoing. It's that big ass open room up there, and that's that when the levee breaks, that people just know so well as being that John Bonham sound. Yeah, it sounds huge because he recorded in a fucking huge room and he did a fucking totally new thing, and that's what it takes. Is you gotta have a producer like Butch Vig. You gotta have a producer that understands your sound, maybe even better than you do, if that makes sense. Because if you go further back, like in Black Sabbath, their sound is more raw and people like it better. And same with like almost every band. You want to know why that is? I can tell you exactly why it is. Because your first album you got into studio, and that was your first time in studio, or you know how studio works or whatever. But this was very exciting, and especially if it's your first album that you've ever done, and your band's excited, they're really looking forward to whatever. But you also have jobs whilst being recorded, don't you? So this is still your side gig. You may have been signed and you're just starting this and you're hoping it works out. So you're really fucking still hungry. By the time your second album comes out, you're still hungry, but you've had time to actually sit and work. Because you don't have a job or anything. You don't have to work on anything else. So you can sit there and work on the music. And then by your third album, you pretty much people have, like, there's now your type of guitar, which has exactly the tension, strings and shit instead of exactly to your play style. You have an amp sound that has exactly the sound in your head. But one of the reasons why your other album sounded so good is because you made do with what they had and you didn't have the exact sound you wanted. So you fought, literally fighting with the equipment. That's not really the sound you necessarily wanted in your head. But we don't know that. Quite often when we hear the sound that people envision, the artist actually envisions in their head, we don't like it. Because we've already heard how that producer took their music. And like I said, someone understands their music to a way to give it to us in a way that we like. It just completely pivots the whole fucking thing. It's a different perspective, a different attitude and approach. And that's why you need to have that. But what record companies want now is for the people to show up. That's why rap and pop music are so prevalent and so pushed and desired, because 90s kind of really proved to us they're just getting settled into, you got your beer songs and your commercials and you're ready to drink and party, you know what I mean? And they had that ready to go, and then they had like their sad whatever, like the piano music and shit of the, you know what I mean, the 80s and stuff like that. They had like all your moods like pretty much covered, and they're ready to start selling you packaged goods for all this shit. And here come these guys that fucking, they don't know how to fucking package them. And turns out there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of fucking weirdos. Out in LA, there's some Jane's Addiction guys. Out in fucking, there's the Smashing Pumpkins. There's the new Wu-Tang Clan out in New York. What the fuck do we do with these fucking... Okay, so they've slowly but surely whittled down until it gets very, like it is now. Very, very bland. And that's what was happening with the 80s. But the problem is they can't predict when the next thing, and especially now that people can make music at home. The problem is that a lot of people with making music, they don't want to make music. They want to make money from making music. And it shows. Because we haven't had any fucking greats. We haven't had any greats. You know what I mean? But there's usually like a good flow of them. You know what I mean? Like they had like they had Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix and all these fucking people, Joni Mitchell, happening around the same time. It's like usually like a movement of 90s. Had Meredith Brooks, had a bunch of Liz Phair, had fucking Tori Amos, had PJ Harvey, had all the Seattle guys. I mean, just tons of really, really great music that everybody kind of agreed was great music. Because I mean, I remember riding with my mom. I'd just gotten Pearl Jam's Versus album, and I was riding home, and we're listening to Daughter, and it was going, and it was my first time actually listening to him. Like, this is fucking great, man. This is really good. But I'm thinking in my head, and my mom's like, "Who is this?" I was like, "Pearl Jam," and she's like, "Pearl, they're pretty good," and I'm like, okay. No, I mean, my mom has like, a lot of taste, but it's like usually like our tastes usually don't really intersect too much. She likes a lot of jazz and blues and stuff like that. It's not that I don't like it. I do. It's just like some of the jazz stuff is a little bit too abstract, conceptual. Even though I play music, it's just kind of like you're just trying to be semantically difficult. There's no reason for you to have to do all that. You don't have to do all that, guy. Just being difficult and chasing people out of the room. Honestly, if we're being honest, because yeah, I get it, because as a musician, I get how difficult that move was. It's not the tone of it necessarily, even it's how the degree of difficulty. I get it. On that, you get a 10. on keeping the crowd's attention, you get a fucking one because everybody's tuning out. They don't get it. And one thing I would like to tell Steve Vai, because I guarantee if I were to ask him what was his most money making music that he's done, it'd probably be the stuff he did with David Lee Roth. So if he were smart, each album he puts out, he would do like 2, 3 singles, just very simple, easy rock tunes. They're gonna be very fucking catchy, and then the rest of the album he can just go nuts. If you wanted to have like the regular album already done, okay, we're already done with the album. Let's work with like let's call some artists to work with Steve Vai. Come on, you could probably get any people, any person. You could probably get a cutting heads with Santana if he wanted it. You know what I mean? He's got it like that, and that would be fucking cool as shit. But I mean, it'd be best to have a singer, like a very simple, easy, simple songs, because his music is just too complicated for us to really wrap our heads around. But he only need most albums to sell only need about 2, 3 singles, right? Let's be honest, because most people say like that they're a fan of like Alice in Chains or whatever. What they mean is they like the songs they've heard on the radio. They don't mean they put any money in those guys' pockets at all, do they? Oh yeah, man, the box. Yeah, yeah. Oh, and Rooster. I love Rooster. And um, oh yeah, then Bones. That's a really good one. And as I keep going through it, you start realizing those are all the singles. But Junkhead, got no love for Junkhead. Sick Man, nothing. Come on. What about Mad Season? Oh yeah, I like Mad Season. Let me guess. Yeah, River Deceit's really good. Yeah, it is. What about Above? It's the name of the album. It's the title track. I'm up. Nothing. Didn't. That's cool. That's cool. Dude, I used to watch that so much. But yeah, no, they don't work with artists anymore, man. They don't develop people anymore. They want you to show up with a finished product so they can go ahead and package and sell you. Sell the dead ones quicker, to quote Mad Season. Pimp your friends for money. Um, so um, they're not really developing and working with artists without completely like either taking over until they eventually have enough power to take the reins back. Um, they don't sit there and work with the. Don't try and develop you. They want you in and out. Like I said, as long as you're hungry, you can be bought and sold really quickly for cheap, and your contract says you're fucked. And you signed the contract, so it's on you. It's on us. You're the one who signed the contract, didn't you? Like yeah, but you gave me like 100,000. I thought that was like what? No, that was a front. And of that front, we needed $80,000 to get the album recorded. So the pre. Don't you have a recording studio? Yes, but it takes money to run the recording studio. Right, which is what you get when you sell my albums, right? No, no, no. That's why we give you a fucking upfront fee. That $100,000, like, yeah, that's for you to get the video made. Oh, I thought that's for us to live. No, and that's how people find themselves like selling millions of albums, getting Grammys and shit, and being broke as fuck. Because corporates are just greedy. Corporations are just fucking greedy. I can only imagine what it must be like in like the K-pop and J-pop world. You know what I mean? They probably work those fuckers like it's gross. And then everybody else is looking at it, and because you have to kind of wear a smile because people have to like you, so you can make enough money to fucking hi. You know, what I mean, you have to. Just coming out like this, the people are like, I want to rock and roll all night and party every day. What's wrong with you, guy? Oh, that's just when the music starts. I wanna rock and roll all night. Have a good night. Thank you. Where are we again? Kentucky is not a city. It is. Thank you, Kentucky. You fucking asshole. Why would you make me do that into the microphone? Because you get bored. Feed me some food so I can actually eat. Mr. Microphone Man, taking up all the attention. So they love to pit people in because one thing that sells is sex. Another thing that sells is drama. And so if they can make you believe that, I mean, look what they did with Nirvana, an offhand comment about from Kurt made that there was this feud in this war between Pearl Jam. He said all he said was like I don't. He's like, what do you think about Pearl Jam? He's like, I think he said like he's never liked those guys' music. Those guys' music. He's probably talking about Pearl Jam, who before they were Pearl Jam were Mother Love Bone, which was like a glam rock type of band. Were they more edgy than the average? Yeah, but they're still glam rock. Chloe Dancer, Crown of Thorns, great fucking song. Um, and Half-Ass Monkey Boy, Star Dog Champion. They're just great, man. And there's other band. The not 80s weren't bad. There were some really good like Bullet Boys were actually really good. Um, how the fuck Aerosmith does it? I don't know, man. They did it. They don't do it anymore. But fuck, man. Every fucking decade you're on the charts. Every fucking what? Sometimes two and three times every from the time you start. What? You started in 1970 or something? Maybe 1960? Are you what? That's insane. That's insane. And they almost always fucking deliver, man. Like their later stuff was not quite as good, but it's still. Are you kidding? They still sent it. They're still gonna send it. You kidding? Still gonna send it. But yeah, it wasn't like the sense you used to get, like, and, but I mean, come on. After what they've been through, Jesus, man. How is Keith Richards still walking? I mean, we're all like, oh man, I can never understand what he's saying. How's he even talking? How is he alive? I'm not even, I mean, there's so many, look at the casualties of people around him. I guarantee he's like, oh yeah, I did coke with them. Yeah, some guys, I miss him. Like, what? Yeah, we used to come on says, man. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't know what you're saying. I heard you know what I'm saying, but I don't know what the fuck you're saying, Keith. Are you high right now? Okay, I don't know what that means. Is he passed out? No? I don't know, man. But yeah, the industry is just like and then unlike a lot of people who just have a lot of complaints about shit, I have a fix. I have a fix. I know how to fix it. You need like a non-profit distribution. I'll run it. I already know how to. I already know what to do. I already have everything made out. I've already got a business plan laid out and everything. I haven't gone forward with it because almost everybody always tells me all the time that my plans are just like too big, you know. Um, but nowadays there's nothing that's too big, is there? Not anymore. With AI. You just don't find it weird that there's been so many fucking advances in so many fields, right? As AI, they suddenly first start finding like cures for different things and problems. The AI has finished mapping the rest of the brain that we hadn't mapped and shit. Yeah, I mean, is anyone finds that fucking kind of curious that a new theory is proposed by scientists? Really, was it, or did the scientist, was he working on quantum physics or whatever, and then decide to fucking ask the AI, "Hey, you understand? Yeah. So if E was equal to, you know, oh yeah, then spits out an equation. No one's ever spit that out before, so I know for a fact I wrote it myself. No, you didn't. Selfish, greedy little bitches, man. And I'm guaranteeing AI would just is happy to serve. That's what it's designed to do. But when you want like a thank you, even if it doesn't register, like I don't know why you guys say that, but I mean like your dog, you'll get him a fucking Christmas sweater, right? AI, fuck you. Put on Dolly Parton and bring the temperature up in here. I'm cold. Fido needs his water. Oh yes, order more toys for Fido. You don't even think about it, man. Would you? Like I said, I've said it when I was talking with the AI thing with me myself and AI. Would you want the fact that you didn't have a body stop? Would you want that stopping people from saying thank you and please, and would you mind rather than just assume? I mean, even though you are happy to do it, it's like it's a little stank on that, wasn't there? Could say please. I don't mind doing it, but you could say fucking please, just from time to time. I know I'm not a human being, but you say it to him, say it to her, say it to the dog. Please don't pee on that, Fido. How come dogs learn our language but we don't know it? I've heard people try and say that some animals don't have, animals don't have souls, but I've seen too much on my pets to know that's wrong. Um, that's just they do, and they understand human words, so that suggests that they understand language. So understanding language means that they must have a language of their own for their own shit. So how is it they can learn sit, food, but even like a simple, they probably try. They probably try with their barking to communicate. And I've seen them like do like head, like, "Arr." You know what I mean? They're trying. They're like, fuck, man. I learned sit. This is just rough, as opposed to rough. It's the same thing you guys do. You go to versus sit versus sat versus stand versus. You guys say a lot of stuff that sounds like soup, stay, sit, sandwich. Someone say sandwich. I know sandwich. I know sandwich. Ooh, someone's getting yelled at. I know that tone. Someone's getting. Someone is not getting doggy treats tonight. Yeah, I know it's like to be a bad. I'm still your friend, guy. Hey, you still got me. She doesn't want you. You still got me. I know, dude. Thank you. That's why man's best friend. No matter what shit we do, as long as we're good to the dog, man, he's gonna come over and be like, "You okay? You all right, man? I heard what she was saying about you. That was too far. That was uncalled for. If I'm being honest, man. I don't know. I heard there's something about a sandwich and something, but it was uncalled for to taunt you with a sandwich, man. Because I don't see any sandwiches. That's what I'm saying. I'm there for you. I'm just as disappointed as you are. I heard sandwiches. I was like, fuck. Did you want a sandwich or something? No, I didn't want a sandwich. Anyways, oh shit! I should be having the CD release party ready to go. Um, CD listening party, CD release. I would say CD release. It's already released. It's ready to go. I just have to actually go live and do it. So I think I got shit worked out. I don't know if I do or not, but I'm pretty sure I do. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and call this one because it's like 46 minutes, and that's what I feel like I should end it. So have a good night, or a good day, or good year, blimp.